I was on the train when a total smoke show sat next to me. I was secretly plotting how to get his number, but to my surprise, the hottie struck up a conversation first. Want to listen together? My playlist is pretty solid. I took the Bluetooth earbud he offered and shyly put it in. You have to close your eyes and really savor this kind of music, he whispered. That's the only way to understand its beauty. I mimicked him, closing my eyes, and forced myself to endure 30 seconds of jarring electronic rock. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I opened my eyes. Hey, handsome, I really think. Empty air. The guy was gone. My phone was gone. My carry-on was gone. Son of a bitch. In broad daylight? With people everywhere? Just straight up robbery? Are there no laws in this country? Just then, a voice came through the Bluetooth earbud. Bluetooth disconnected. That punk must have bolted. If I didn't chase him now, he'd be off the train. I didn't hesitate. I pressed the earbud to my ear, stood up, and started trying to reconnect. Generally speaking, these standard earbuds have a range of about 30 feet. I took a few steps left, then right. On the right, I heard the faint ping of a connection. Good. He's to the right. I kept my finger on the earbud and moved deeper into the car, scanning the passengers on both sides, terrified I'd missed the thief. I got to the end of the car, and the signal cut out again. Damn it, did he see me coming and run? Before I could move into the next car, someone grabbed my arm. I whipped around to see a young guy in a bomber jacket looking at me with confusion. You too? I paused. What? The kid pointed to his own earbud. The suspect is alert. We have to be careful not to blow our cover. Ah. Another victim. Misery loves company, I'd found my people. I nodded immediately, lowering my voice. Don't worry. We'll sneak up on him. Ninja style. The kid nodded in relief. He was about to say something else when his eyes suddenly sharpened. Here he comes. I followed his gaze and saw a familiar figure in the distance. Bingo. I locked eyes with the kid. We're hitting the station soon. I'll take the front, you take the back. We flank him. The kid looked me up and down. Can you handle it? Maybe let the captain take this one? Wow, our Victims Alliance already elected a captain? I waved him off. Don't underestimate me. I'm a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo. The kid immediately gestured for me to lead the way. At the same time, the conductor announced our arrival. I moved quickly to the door, my eyes glued to that silhouette. 30 seconds later, the train stopped. The moment the doors opened, I sprinted onto the platform. Beep. The earbud connected. Blasting rock music filled my ear again. I felt like the lead in an action movie, my steps matching the drumbeat. I was moving faster than I ever had in my life. I spotted the familiar figure instantly. Behind me, the kid was yelling, "Captain! Cut him off! I don't need a captain." I practically flew through the air, tackling the thief to the ground. I got you, you little creep. The handsome thief stumbled under my weight, but his reaction was fast. With a quick judo move, he flipped me onto my back. Panicked, I bent my knee to strike, but just as I raised my leg, I heard the kid wailing behind me. Captain! Why are you guys fighting each other? Wait, what? My brain stalled for a second. The grip on me loosened. The handsome guy glared at me, then scrambled up and kept running. Hey! I scrambled up too. Freeze! Give me back my bag. Are you an idiot? The guy rolled his eyes at me as he ran, looking exasperated. The thief is the guy in front of us. I followed his finger and saw a skinny little old man sprinting ahead with my limited edition bag on his back. He was seconds away from hitting the escalator and disappearing into the crowd. In the blink of an eye, the handsome guy roared, "Duck!" I instinctively dropped. A split second later, a full heavy water bottle whistled past the back of my head and nailed the old man right between the shoulder blades. Thwack! The old man pitched forward and tumbled right off the platform edge. I screamed and instinctively moved to go after him. "What are you doing?" The handsome guy grabbed me from behind, his heart pounding against my back. "You got a death wish?" I looked down at my bag, which had tumbled down with the old man. My heart was bleeding. My brand new calfskin. That was $6,000. The guy was silent for 2 seconds, then let go. "Well, you want to go down there and keep it company?" Half an hour later, I was sitting in the transit police station, hugging my scratched-up calfskin bag and weeping silently. The door opened. The handsome captain and the kid walked in, looking awkward. After a few seconds, Captain Handsome spoke up. "So, you technically assisted in the arrest. Let me see if I can get that bag expensed for you." I looked up through teary eyes. "Really?" It was $6,000. Even with the damage, I could resell it for $4,000. The captain immediately let out a fake laugh. "Huh, nope. I'm kidding. Definitely don't take that seriously." I cried harder. "Look, you carry a bag that expensive, you're practically asking to be targeted," the captain sighed. I mumbled, "The thief is the one at fault. What does my poor calfskin bag have to do with it?" The captain paused, then chuckled. "Fair point. Why don't you ask the thief for reimbursement?" I heard the sarcasm and glared at him. Look at that pathetic old man. I'd be scared he'd sue me for $20 if I bumped into him. Reimbursement? The captain grinned. The dad can't pay, but the son can. I blinked. What do you mean? The captain sat down next to me. From what we know, they're a father-son duo. The dad steals on the transit lines, the son sells the goods offline. We caught the dad. Catching the son shouldn't be hard, we just need bait. He looked pointedly at my calfskin bag. I got defensive. My bag is expensive. Even with scratches, it's valuable. The captain waved a hand. His son runs a second-hand luxury shop. Once we bust him, I'll let you pick any bag you want from the inventory. Deal? Ooh. Now I was listening. An hour later, I got out of a car in the downtown commercial district with the captain, who was now in plain clothes. We'd introduced ourselves on the ride over. His name was William Hayes. Though, honestly, Hayes didn't seem to fit because the man couldn't stay still. After he pulled at his collar for the 10th time, I grabbed his arm. "Can you sit still? You look like a trust fund baby with ADHD." William clicked his tongue and twisted his neck again. "This collar is itchy." I kept a straight face. "That is a pure Italian cashmere sweater. It cost $1,200. William immediately went still. "It's comfy. Never worn anything so soft." I almost laughed. The consignment shop was in the city center, but the location was terrible. If William hadn't been leading the way, I never would have known a luxury store existed here. The storefront was small, but the decor was retro. The blackboard outside was covered in text, and the store name was some pretentious mix of Italian, French, and English without a single logical word. I stood at the door shaking my head. Mean. It looked so mean. I knew without asking that we'd get zero customer service in there. "Weird," William muttered, tugging his collar again. Between the two of us, our outfits cost as much as a Honda Civic. No reason they shouldn't roll out the red carpet. I leaned in to check the back of his neck. Oh, the tag was still on. No wonder it scratched. I coughed lightly, pulled the tag out, and stood on my tiptoes to lean in. "Hey! What are you doing?" William took a huge step forward to dodge me. My teeth were already clamped onto the plastic tag fastener to bite it off, so when he jerked forward, I face-planted right into the nape of his neck. "What the hell? Are you a zombie? Why are you biting me?" William yelped, reaching back to peel me off. I clutched my mouth, tears streaming from the pain. I tried to speak, but blood started trickling from the corner of my lip. William turned pale. Holy crap. Is the sweater poisonous? Poisonous my ass. My tooth cut my lip. William clearly realized he'd overreacted. He quickly pulled out a tissue to wipe my mouth, guiltily changing the subject. Where's the owner? If he doesn't come out soon, we could dismantle this place brick by brick. I pointed to the small room behind the counter. Maybe he's taking a nap. His own dad just got arrested, and he's napping? William muttered. You don't get it, I schooled him. These boutique owners are all about the vibe. Being too cool for school is part of the brand. His dad getting arrested is probably just part of his gritty backstory now. William looked confused. He tugged his sweater again. So, does dressing like this actually help? I smiled. Don't worry. Defeating them is simple. I pulled out my phone and pretended to make a call. Hey girl. The Chanel next door is too crowded, so I found this deserted shop. It looks like a sketchy bodega from the outside, really tacky. You can't miss it. Silence from the shop. William glanced at me. That's it? I waited 2 seconds, then signaled him to check the back room. If that didn't bring him out to defend his honor, he's either not here or he's dead. William looked skeptical but walked around the counter and pushed open the door to the back room. 30 seconds later, William came out. He looked at me with a very strange expression. He hesitated, then lowered his voice. Be honest. Did you kill him? Excuse me? Is this a setup? William watched my expression closely. Seeing no guilt, he touched his nose awkwardly. So, he's gone. I jumped. Seriously? William was already pulling out his phone to call it in. Why would I lie about that? But. He looked up at me, his gaze totally bewildered. How did you know he was dead? I paused, then gave a superior smirk. Heh. Amateurs. And you call yourself a detective? William swore and looked like he was about to roll up his sleeves. I quickly held him back and pointed to the room. Don't you get it? A hipster like that cannot stay silent when his aesthetic is insulted in his own domain. I compared his store to a bodega. That is the ultimate insult. There is no way the owner wouldn't storm out. The forensics team arrived shortly after. They determined the time of death was at least an hour ago. I sipped a boba tea on the sidelines and rolled my eyes at William. I was with you an hour ago. Believe I'm not the killer now? William whispered a defense. I didn't really suspect you. The deceased was Lance Lee, the owner of the consignment shop and the son of the old thief. He had been stabbed in the neck with a sharp, thin object and bled out. William frowned. We just caught his dad, and immediately after, he gets killed. Is it a coincidence? I looked at him. You mean his death is related to his dad's arrest? William shook his head. Hard to say. No leads yet, can't jump to conclusions. He stood up to organize the officers for canvassing. I didn't want to be in the way, so I dusted off my pants, ready to go home. I'd barely taken 2 steps out of the shop when someone called my name. Riley. I turned around and blinked. What are you doing here? It was my friend Harper. We shopped around here all the time. I was surprised to see her because Harper is actually wealthy. She almost never shops at second-hand stores. Harper's annoyed expression faltered when she saw the police tape around the shop. She whispered, "What happened to the store?" I shrugged. Owner's dead. What? Harper looked shocked for a second, then cursed. Damn it. What about my bag? Who do I complain to now? I noticed the shopping bag in her hand. What happened? You bought a bag here? Harper nodded angrily. I saw this cute card holder online last week. The flagship store said there was a wait list, but I saw this place had it, so I came over. Turns out they actually had it. What I didn't expect was that it's a fake. William had obviously heard our conversation. He stepped out. When you came here last week, did the owner act strange? Harper was annoyed, but when she saw William's face, her eyebrows shot up and her expression softened. And you are? I made the introductions. This is Detective Hayes. He's in charge of the case. William nodded at Harper. Was the owner alone in the shop? Any other employees? Harper thought for a moment. I don't think so. I don't really remember. She pulled out her phone naturally and looked at William. Why don't we exchange numbers, Detective? That way, if I remember anything, I can tell you immediately. Oh, wow. The heiress is asking for his WeChat, number. While I silently noted that William's pretty face was a dangerous weapon, I also grabbed some popcorn mentally. William paused, strictly professional. Sorry, policy says I can't give out my personal contact info. If you remember anything, you can tell Riley. She'll relay it to me. Rejected. Harper's face fell, but then she looked confused. Tell Riley? You two are that close? William nodded, gesturing to his sweater. She buys my clothes. Wait. I stood there, stunned. That phrasing sounded wrong. I turned to see Harper squinting at me, a meaningful look on her face. I quickly tried to explain. No, wait, that's not what he. Forget it. Men come and go, sisters are forever. Harper cut me off, looking superficially happy for me. Good for you, Riley. What a catch. In reality, she was pinching my side, whispering furiously, you little brat, eating at the buffet without me. All right, ma'am, can you try to remember anything else about Lance? William pulled me away from Harper and continued his questioning. Harper spread her hands. Nothing happened last week. Just the owner. I didn't see anyone else. However, Harper seemed to recall something. This Lance guy seemed to have a partner. Last week when I was here, he'd just finished a fight on the phone. He complained to me about them. William pressed, complained about what? Harper racked her brain. Something about crazy jealousy. I told him if he couldn't stand it, he should just break up. Oh, right. She clapped her hands. When I said break up, Lance shook his head like a rattle. He said, if I actually broke up with them, that psycho would probably kill me. Yikes. A crime of passion? After Harper left, William immediately sent officers to investigate Lance's relationships. I pointed at the camera inside the store. If he had a partner, they probably came by, right? The surveillance should have it. William looked resigned. He pushed me toward the monitor and pointed at the lens. See that indicator light? It's off. I noticed it right away. The camera is just a prop. Thinking of the fake bag Harper bought, I laughed awkwardly. If the shop is full of fakes, makes sense the security is fake too. Still, William had the tech guys check the deceased's computer for any saved footage. Since there was really nothing left for me to do, I wisely decided to leave. William nodded, then asked, what about the sweater? I grabbed his collar and tugged it down, staring at the patch of skin I revealed. Keep wearing it. Unless you plan to streak home. Can't do that. William waved his hand. He looked serious, though I couldn't tell if he was acting. I can't take a single needle or thread from the people. Then, he pulled out his phone and waved it at me. Add me? I'll wash it and return it when I'm done. I froze, then smiled knowingly. Detective Hayes, didn't you say policy forbids giving out personal contact info? My question was a bit sharp. I expected him to look embarrassed, but he was totally calm. Not casually, William said. You aren't an unrelated party. You found the body with me. You're a witness, a friend, and technically a suspect. Adding you is just good police work. I zeroed in on the last part. You suspect Harper? William shrugged. If we hadn't shown up today, she likely would have been the one to find the body. Criminal history suggests the first witness is the killer in about 20% of homicide cases. I choked. I couldn't refute that, so I scanned his QR code and drove off. I assumed William would be busy with the case for a while, but to my surprise, he contacted me early the next morning to return the sweater. I was surprised. There's a murder investigation and he has time to play delivery boy? When I got to the meeting spot, I realized the man had pulled an all-nighter. At the breakfast joint, William had dark circles under his eyes and was nodding off over a bowl of soy milk. If I hadn't tapped him, he might have drowned in it. Bro, did you stay up all night? I sat opposite him and stole a steamed bun from his basket. William grunted and handed me a bag. Dry cleaned. I bit into the bun, ignoring the bag. Keep it. It's too big for me anyway. William glanced at me, joking, you're letting me keep such an expensive shirt? That feels like a bribe. I shrugged. I don't have any men to give it to. Unless you feel guilty, in which case I can take it back and use it as a dog bed. William's lip quirked. Guess I got lucky then. Or not, I put a hand on the bag, raising an eyebrow. Any progress on the case? Can you tell me? William didn't hide anything. Nothing I can't say. Lance's computer had backups, but only from 2 weeks ago. The camera wasn't off, it broke recently. Seeing who came in or out in the last 2 weeks is basically impossible. I was curious. Any suspicious people in the old footage? William held up one finger. One. Very suspicious. Raises a lot of questions. And you know her. I paused, a bad feeling rising in my gut. You're not talking about Harper? William nodded, his expression turning serious. We pulled the footage. She's been going to Lance's shop for 3 months. More than once. Definitely not her first time last week, like she claimed. I was baffled. Harper is loaded. She buys everything from flagship stores. We shop together all the time. I've never seen her go into a consignment shop. William shook his head. She wasn't there to buy. At least, according to the footage, she never left with anything. Every time, she followed Lance into the back room and stayed for over half an hour. William didn't say it explicitly, but his face said it all. Harper and Lance probably had something illicit going on. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. Sure, Lance was kind of cute in a scruffy way, but Harper has dated models. Why would she mess around with a married, or taken, shop owner? I thought of a possibility. Wait, that partner Lance complained about. Maybe that person doesn't exist? William waved his hand. No, the person exists. We haven't confirmed if she was officially his girlfriend, but on the footage, they were definitely intimate. I wanted to crack Harper's head open. She actually got involved with a guy in a relationship. William chugged the rest of his soy milk and wiped his mouth. I'm heading back to the precinct. We should have that girl's ID by now. His phone buzzed immediately. William answered, and his face darkened. 30 seconds later, he hung up and looked at me, his voice urgent. Did you drive? Can you give me a lift? I stood up. What happened? The girl. William's voice was heavy. The girl Lance was involved with. She's dead. The scene wasn't far, a 20-minute drive. The victim was Zoe, a sales associate at the downtown mall. She hadn't shown up for work, didn't answer calls. A colleague went to her apartment and found her. Time of death was likely around 11 p.m. last night. The medical examiner briefed William. Same cause of death as Lance Lee. Stabbed through the neck with a long, sharp object. Exsanguination. William frowned. Can you speculate on the weapon? The me thought for a moment. Looks like a needle. You know those thick acupuncture needles? Python needles? Something like that. I froze. If I remembered correctly, Harper's grandma was an acupuncturist. William saw my face change. What is it? Before I could speak, someone shoved me hard from behind. I stumbled forward, barely catching myself before hitting the doorframe. Watch it. William caught me. You okay? I shook my head and turned to glare at the guy. Why are you shoving people? Blind? It was a tall, burly guy with a buzz cut. He ignored my anger, looking frantic. Sorry, The landlord said Zoe was hurt. I panicked. William and I exchanged a look. Who are you to the victim? The buzz-cut guy said, sort of. Her brother. We're from the same village. She came here to work, stayed with me for a bit. I helped her rent this place. Family. My anger deflated. I muttered a dry, sorry for your loss. Buzzcut's face went white. Zoe. She. William sighed. The body isn't in good shape. Prepare yourself. Buzzcut followed an officer inside. A moment later, we heard shaking sobs. Then, Buzzcut stumbled out, eyes red with rage. Was it that bitch? Did that bitch do this? She thinks because she has money she's untouchable. I have nothing to lose. I'll kill her. My eyelid twitched. He wasn't talking about Harper. Was he? William clearly thought the same thing. He had an officer take the man back to the station for a statement, then signaled me to walk with him. Don't ask me, I really don't know, I said before he could start. Harper never told me. William didn't buy it. You guys go shopping and just shop. No gossip about relationships? I racked my brain. She mentioned she liked someone, but I never guessed it would be a taken man. Seeing he wouldn't get anything else, William waved it off. Fine. I'll ask her myself. You know where she lives? I did. So I drove William over. Bad luck. Harper wasn't home. Only the housekeeper was there. Miss Harper told me this morning she was going on a business trip, the housekeeper said. I felt a pit in my stomach. That convenient? Did she flee the country? William pressed. What time did she contact you? Did she say where? The housekeeper checked her phone. Before 6 a.m. She messaged me saying she had to catch a flight. Didn't say where, just that she might not be back for a while. That early? I was surprised. I rarely see Harper take flights that early. Unless it was an emergency. William focused on the not back for a while part. He frowned and told the housekeeper, if she contacts you again, tell me immediately. Leaving Harper's house, William thanked me. Thanks for the ride today. I owe you dinner. I waved him off. What about Harper? I'll put out a trace, William said. At least find out where she is. I nodded, looking at my car, feeling hesitant. Can you drive back? My ankle hurts. I don't want to drive. What happened? William frowned, squatting down to reach for my foot. When did it start hurting? Why didn't you say something? I was a little embarrassed and pulled back reflexively. It's fine. I probably twisted it when Buzzcut shoved me. I'll spray something on it later. William didn't push it. He drove me home first. At my building, I turned to him. Why don't you take my car to the precinct? Bring it back whenever. William smiled. I've been troubling you for 2 days. I really need to apply for a budget to buy you a calfskin bag as compensation. Actually, I don't need a calfskin bag, I eyed him up and down. I'll take other forms of compensation. William raised an eyebrow. Deal. Once your ankle heals, compensation will be delivered. He wasn't usually the playful type, but that slightly wicked look on his face made him even hotter. My ears felt hot. I coughed and got out of the car. I'm going in. You get back to work. Behind me, William chuckled low, watching me flee. I got into the lobby only to see an out-of-order sign on the elevator. I live on the 8th floor. If I'd known, I wouldn't have run off. I could have made William be my pack mule. I lamented my throbbing ankle for a few seconds, debating whether to stay at my parents', when someone knocked on the glass door behind me. I turned. William was standing outside, hands in his pockets, smiling at me. The sunlight hit the side of his face. He looked warm. He looked at me and smiled. Riley, want that compensation now? I knew cops had to be fit. But I didn't know they were this fit. William carried me up 8 flights of stairs on his back. Without stopping. After we got inside, I stared at him, waiting to see if he'd go to a corner and collapse wheezing. He didn't. He just grabbed 2 tissues to wipe a little sweat. Is he human? Noticing my stare, William smiled. What are you looking at? I said, Super Saiyan. William took it as a compliment. He rolled up his sleeves and flexed. Not just for show. It was cheesy, but the muscle definition was genuinely beautiful. I couldn't help but reach out and squeeze his arm. When I saw his amused expression, I quickly pulled back and patted his shoulder. I accept this compensation. Keep up the good work, Officer Hayes. William looked interested. Keep it up how? I stalled. Carry me up and down the stairs more? William clicked his tongue in disappointment. I thought you meant this kind. He lifted the hem of his shirt slightly. Taut skin flashed before my eyes. I froze for a second, face burning. I lunged forward and yanked his shirt down. What is wrong with you? Aren't you a police officer? Seducing civilians is against the rules. I'm not seducing anyone, William said innocently. You wanted compensation. I thought you liked looking at this. I choked. I mean, I do like looking at it. But. Compensation implies getting something I actually want, right? William looked down at me. Are you saying you don't like it? I stammered for a while but couldn't squeeze out a no. William smiled slightly. He gently freed his shirt from my grip and lifted it half an inch. Smooth muscle peeked out. He looked down at me. So? Want compensation? Look, even a saint couldn't refuse this situation. By the time my brain came back online, my palm was already flat against William's abs. Warm. Hard. Defined. William inhaled slightly, and the texture got even better. A full 30 seconds later, I reluctantly pulled my hand back, exhaling in satisfaction. Okay. That touch was worth $1,000. William laughed. Does that mean you have a few dozen touches saved up? I hadn't thought about it, but hearing him say it. Not a bad idea. Just as I was calculating how many thousands I could rack up, my phone buzzed. I stared at the screen. It was Harper. I'm sorry. Please take care of my parents. My heart leaped into my throat. What does this mean? She's not doing something stupid, is she? William immediately contacted his team to trace the number and signaled me to call her back. I didn't hesitate. But the phone was already off. Are you sure this is Harper's main number? William frowned. I nodded. It's the only one I know. William wanted to say something, but his colleague on the other end reported first. We checked Harper's travel records. Nothing. I was stunned. Meaning? She didn't go on a trip? William walked toward the door. It means she didn't buy a ticket through legal channels. She didn't take the highway. But she could have taken a shady cab on back roads. Or she never left and is playing hide and seek. Of course, there is another possibility. William looked down at the text on my phone, his expression dark. The person who sent that text might not be Harper. I understood immediately. You mean she was kidnapped? William nodded, then shook his head. Just a guess. No proof. From the motive and relationships, her fleeing makes more sense. I didn't believe Harper would ruin her life over a boutique owner, but love makes people do crazy things. William rubbed my head. I'm going back to the station. Stay here. If she contacts you, tell me. I nodded. Harper didn't message again all day. I contacted her parents. They seemed normal, oblivious to any trouble. If her parents didn't know, what about her grandma? I had an idea. The next morning, I called William and told him my theory. William thought about it. It's a lead. Where is her grandma's clinic? I'm going. I'll go too, I said. My ankle is sprained, it's a perfect excuse. We won't spook her. William hesitated. Okay. I'll pick you up. I pretended to be annoyed. Why the hesitation? Think I'll slow you down? I can still perform a tornado kick on one leg. William chuckled. No. I was just wondering if this meeting requires another $1,000 compensation. I coughed. I suppose it could. 30 minutes later, I was in the passenger seat, sipping milk tea with one hand and resting the other on William's abs. Is this 1,000? William glanced at me while driving. Feels like 10 grand worth. I huffed. So what? Don't act like you aren't enjoying it. I leaned in closer, pressing slightly harder, threatening him. Aren't you? The car slammed to a halt at a red light. William looked down at me, his eyes intimate and dangerous. What if I say yes? I froze, my heart racing faster than the honking cars behind us. Then I guess I know you pretty well. I laughed dryly and sat back properly. Green light. Go, go. We're almost there. William chuckled and hit the gas. I directed him around the last corner, my heart rate finally slowing. Seeing the two-story building ahead, I pointed. That's it. William parked in a temporary spot. Okay, I'm getting, hey. A shadow pressed over me. The half-open door was pulled shut. William loomed over me, eyebrows raised. I was counting. 1 touch is 1,000. You touched for at least 3 minutes. How many touches is that? My heart felt like it was going to explode. I stammered, let's say. Say 10. William smiled. No. 20. Not enough. 30 then? Seeing my face turn red, William finally hummed in agreement. 1 touch, 1,000. 30 touches is 30,000. Plus the last time. William smirked, pointedly. Riley, you're in debt. Wait, math doesn't work like that. I was about to argue when I saw a figure through the window. I pulled William down. Someone's coming. It was Harper's grandma. She was dressed in drab gray clothes, totally unlike her usual flashy style. She carried a backpack and looked hurried. She got into a taxi. I hit William's arm. Follow her. William exhaled, pushed himself off me, and started the car. Seatbelt. We followed the taxi discreetly. 20 minutes later, the road looked familiar. Wasn't this downtown? Why was Grandma here? The taxi didn't stop at the main mall entrance. It went to a side street near the west side, not far from Lance's shop. Grandma got out. William stopped the car immediately. If I don't message you in 20 minutes, call for backup. Hey. I tried to stop him, but he hopped the fence and followed her into an alley. Time stretched. I paced in front of the car, checking my phone every few seconds. It felt like a century, but only 7 minutes had passed. Someone tapped my shoulder. I jumped, ready to flip them, but stopped when I saw the face. What are you doing here? It was Zach, the buzz cut guy. Zoe's brother. Zach looked confused. I saw you standing here for a while. Everything okay? I smiled vaguely. Waiting for a friend. Zach nodded and pointed at my car. Wait inside. It's cold. I mumbled an agreement, then asked, why are you here? Zoe's apartment wasn't near here. Zach pointed at a restaurant nearby. I work there. He hesitated, then lowered his voice. I know you're close with that cop. Any progress on Zoe's case? I was vague. I'm not sure. Heard they have a suspect. Zach's voice went cold. It has to be that woman. Who else? I tested him. Which woman? The rich one? Zach nodded, face ugly. Carrying designer bags, acting like she owns the world. If she's so rich, why act like a homewrecker? Shameless. He remembered something and pulled out his phone. And she has more than one guy. I saw her messing around with another dude. Different guys every time. I didn't really believe that. Harper is dramatic, but not messy. But Zach looked certain. He showed me a photo. Look. I snuck this pic. Wanted to show Zoe, but the photo was definitely Harper. She was with a young guy. From the body language, it looked suspicious, but Harper looked annoyed, like she was brushing him off. Can I take a picture of this? I asked. Zach nodded, still fuming. People like her have never heard no in their lives. If things don't go their way, other people pay the price. I didn't speak. I was sweating because that sounded exactly like Harper. Zach went back to work. I stared at his back until someone grabbed my shoulders. Don't move. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the arm, aimed a kick, and got pulled into a warm embrace. A laughing voice came from above. Riley, trying to kill me to wipe out your debt? I relaxed, leaning back against him. How is it my debt? Officer Hayes bullying civilians? Who's bullying you? William pointed in the direction Zach had gone. Who were you talking to? Exchanging numbers? I laughed, elbowing him. That was Zach. Zoe's brother. You didn't recognize him? William squinted. I did. That's why I wondered why you were chatting him up. Not chatting. I showed him the photo on my phone. Zach caught Harper with another guy. He wanted to show Zoe. William frowned, looking at the photo. He pays a lot of attention to these women. I blinked. What about Grandma? Did she go secretly help Harper? William made a face. Don't ask. He sighed. We got it wrong from the start. What do you mean? William lowered his voice. Grandma wasn't there to meet Harper. She was there to pay off Harper's gambling debts. I froze. What? Right near Lance's shop, there's a storefront under renovation. Inside, it's an illegal gambling den. Harper is a regular. She lost a ton of money. Collectors cornered her, so Grandma has been going over to pay them off and clean up her mess. Unexpected. Who could have guessed? William sighed. The gambling den is technically on the next street, but structurally, it backs right up to the consignment shop. I called it in. That shop definitely has secrets. I nodded, but then I frowned. If Harper was going to the shop to access the gambling den, she might not have had an affair with Lance at all. Meaning, she had no motive to kill Lance or Zoe. So, the killer wasn't Harper. Then who? I tugged William's sleeve. Hungry? William blinked, thrown off by my jump in logic. Huh? I pulled him toward the restaurant nearby. Come on. Lunch on me. William looked confused but followed me inside. It was a standard family-style restaurant. Just opened for the day, empty except for us. The waiter recommended the specials. Our braised pork and the barbecue platter are famous. I ordered both. Once the waiter left, William said, "I can't stay long. I need to get back to the shop." I waved my hand. "We aren't just here to eat." "Then why?" I was silent for a moment. "William. Is it possible Lance's partner wasn't Zoe?" William frowned. "Not Zoe? Harper? But she didn't have a romantic conflict with Lance." No. I lowered my voice to a whisper. "I mean, is it possible Lance's partner was a man?" William froze. He stopped breathing for a few seconds. Clearly, this hadn't occurred to him. But William is a detective. He put it together fast. "There haven't been any men in this case. Except..." I nodded hard. "Except Zach. Don't you think his attitude toward Zoe and Harper is weird?" I analyzed. Zoe died, but he barely seemed sad. He just cared about pinning it on Harper. And Harper said Lance complained about a jealous partner, calling them a psycho who would kill him. If the partner was a woman, wouldn't he say, "Crazy bitch"? William frowned. "It makes sense, but we have no proof." When Lance died, Zach, Zhao Tianrong, said he was at work. Colleagues verified it. He paused, grabbing the menu. His eyes locked on the restaurant name. "This place is also called Home Style Eats." Zach said he worked at this chain, but at the Old Town location. I smirked. Smoke and mirrors. I checked Yelp. This chain has a location here and in Old Town. Zach clearly works here, but told you guys he worked across town. Suspicious, right? William rubbed the menu, looking at me. "How did you suspect Zach? How did you figure out he was gay?" "He looks like a typical straight bro." I smiled and shook my phone. I saw his lock screen when I took the photo. It was a still from Brokeback Mountain. What straight guy uses Brokeback Mountain as wallpaper? William gave me a thumbs up. Impressive. But getting a confession won't be easy. Even with motive, we need the weapon. A rough guy like him wouldn't have embroidery needles. Where would he get a sharp, thin metal spike? William's voice trailed off. His gaze locked onto something behind me. I followed his line of sight to the waiter bringing our food. "Here is your braised pork and barbecue platter." The waiter set down the plate. The large metal skewers sticking out of the meat gleamed with a greasy, cold light. "Enjoy." That day, police found the secret door connecting the shop to the gambling den. Zach was arrested. They found the stainless steel skewer hidden in the kitchen. The restaurant owner nearly had a stroke and had to buy all new utensils. In the interrogation room, Zach seemed relieved. He confessed instantly. "I killed them. Lance and Zoe. I thought I'd fooled you guys longer." William laid out a photo album found in Zach's apartment. It was full of photos of him and Lance. Shoulders touching, smiling. Happy. Why kill them? We know Zoe wasn't actually having an affair with Lance. She was using the shop to hide her gambling. Zoe was a gambler too. She didn't have Harper's money. She had nothing to trade but her body. Zach sneered. No affair? Bullshit. Zoe was a leech. She came from nothing. If I hadn't helped her, she'd be on the streets. But instead of being grateful, she seduced my man. Zach exhaled shakily, his eyes red. Lance was heartless too. I gave him everything. He wanted a shop, I sold my car and house. He had trouble with gangs, I got my arm broken protecting him. And what did he do? Did he think of me while he was with those women? I went to bring him food that day. I saw him with Zoe. Again. What am I to him? What was all my sacrifice for? I listened from the observation room, feeling sick. Zach used to be a head chef. He lost his career because of that broken arm. He ended up flipping meat in a cheap diner. He loved Lance. But hate won out. William was silent for a long time. Lance wasn't with Zoe. Zoe was harassing him. She owed money and was offering sex to clear the debt. Zach's rage froze. Then that Harper woman. She's evil too. She has money. She could pay. Why did she keep coming back to him? William sighed. You're right, she has money. But rich people hate scandal. She was afraid the debt collectors would expose her gambling, so she was paying Lance to keep his people quiet. You never actually saw her touch him, did you? I know you hate them. William looked at Zach's pale face. But right now, the person you hate most is yourself. The room went silent. Then, a wail of pure agony broke out. It filled the room, far more real than the tears he'd shed for Zoe. The sky outside was gray, heavy with impending rain. I stood under the precinct awning. Zach confessed to Harper's location. A warm jacket settled over my shoulders. He kidnapped her, planned to kill her and frame it as a suicide to take the blame. We got to him in time. William stood next to me, checking that his jacket covered me. My team is picking her up now. I nodded. After a silence, I asked, Zach. He's getting the death penalty? William hummed. Double homicide. Premeditated. He didn't ask for a lawyer. He didn't ask for leniency. Death might not be a punishment for him. Though that isn't fair to the victims. I sighed, watching the clouds. Love is terrifying. Maybe there's love that isn't so scary. The streetlights flickered on above us. William looked down at me. The cold, intimidating detective vibe vanished in the warm yellow light. I might not be able to give you a fairy tale love, but I definitely won't murder you for money. He was smiling, but his eyes were serious. Want to give it a try? I really did just want to share my music with you on that train. I looked at him. I don't know if perfect love exists. I don't know why we fall for people. But I think we all have cracks in our hearts where the cold wind blows in. And when someone comes along and fills that crack, even for a moment, the warmth is real. And that moment is worth everything. I smiled into William's nervous, intense gaze and reached out to take his cold hand. Okay. Let's survive the winter together.